Hello, and welcome to an episode of Confessions of a Dog Trainer. I almost forgot the name of my podcast. Hi. This is my first episode of 2026. I am super excited. Uh, okay, from now on, I'm never going to say this again because I want to keep showing up consistently. And podcast is a big priority for me in this year just because I miss it. I love it. I think it's such a cool way to share information that is outside of social media. My dog Louie. So I haven't done one since May of last year. So I have a couple of things to announce. I have a book, Dear Owner. I wrote it. Look how cute the cover is. It's a real book. Whoa. I'm super excited about this book. When did I launch it? I think September, October, November. I don't know. But been getting really good feedback. This is not a training manual. This is more about the human side of dog training, how it feels to have a challenging dog, what that can look like. It was also a really therapeutic book for me, sharing some stuff about my dad. He is the reason that I do this podcast, why I got back into it. So before I forget, I've got my cup of Joe. I'll wait for you to get yours. Usually when I do this, it's not coffee. It's usually water because I've had 3 cups of coffee by the time I do an episode. It's real coffee. Yay. Okay, so I've got that book. I will link it in the show notes. If you haven't got it yet, you can get it off of Amazon. Super easy. And the other thing is made a little calendar. How cute and unexpected. This came from doing different. Oh, and first, did I already say what this episode is going to be about so that you stick around? It's going to be my tips for working in a multi-dog home. And I'm going to tell you some things about the training dog I have in right now, a little adorable potato of a Frenchie named Nola, who has some resource guarding things with her housemate. So talking about that, because I do not have our housemate here. How does that work? I will tell you. So stick around for that, where I'm going to share more about her and the process working with her. And then some multi-dog things. Because I did a live on Instagram last week, I think, or the week before. And I got a couple questions about multi-dog stuff. When you want to work with different dogs, what does that look like? So I will try and simplify things for you, give you some tips. But yeah, so it's a daily calendar. Did not know people still had these. By the way, they do. You probably do. It came from I started doing these dog diary graphics on Instagram, and the first one, I hate saying viral, but it literally went viral. And people in the comments were asking, do you have a calendar I could get? Do you have a desk calendar? And I was like, I didn't even know people still had that. So we went, did some research at Barnes & Noble. There's a whole section of them. Met with a local printer. They had never done anything like this before. So it was a really fun process seeing the different prototypes they made. So cool. And yeah, so we have it. It's, I think, the cutest thing ever. So 365 days of funny little snarky dog diaries. They make me laugh out loud. And right now it is on sale for 20% off. Use the code SALE26 at my website. I'll put the link in the show notes like everything else. But we have a few more that I would love to find a home for, and then they're all gone. So if you would like that, I love seeing when people get multiple ones because they're giving them as gifts, which I think is just so exciting. And it's just really cute. It's not dog trainery. It's just, we love dogs. How fun is it to think about the snarky things they would think of us and say? I love it. Okay. So we got that. I don't know. I think those are kind of the big things. I took off a few months from dog training, which was really good for me. And it's always nice to have a little break, but I'm excited to be back in the swing of dog training stuff. And right now I have a little Frenchie, Nola, who she's 9 months old. And one of the big things that her owners were struggling with is her resource guarding. She resource guards food and toys with her housemate, who is another Frenchie who is about 2.5 years old. So how does it work when I don't have both dogs together? Well, one, expectations are really important. So my note to other trainers, or you will probably already get this, I'm very upfront saying, I don't have both dogs. I cannot say that Nola will never guard anything ever again, but we are going to teach her some new boundaries, some new quote unquote coping skills that then her owners can help hold her accountable for things and give her really clear guidance on what they want her to do instead. E-collar training is a big part of what I'm doing with her. And if those of you who have been around for a while and have listened to the podcast before, you know that I share very openly about e-collar training in this podcast. It is a huge goal of mine, or it feels like purposey. Purpose? Okay, that's a terrible word to say. That's not even a word, but it sounds really bad. It feels like a purpose of mine to help spread the word about e-collar training. And I know there's a lot of negative stuff out there, and I just think I know it can be life-changing for owners and their dogs. So but okay, so with Nola, with the resource guarding, there's a couple of different ways that I like to teach the out command. So the out command can either be drop something, or this is great for dogs if you walk your dog and they pick up mulch or sticks, or they're super naughty on the walk and you're trying to pry stuff out of their mouth. I remember when I was a dog walker and I walked these 3 dogs from a household. Oh, I miss them. They were my first solo client that I got on my own, because originally I worked for someone else who had a business, and then I started getting business on my side of town. She was my first client. She actually stopped me in the neighborhood so this is why I think manifesting, which might be a little woo-woo, but I believe so strongly in believing in what you want and like visualizing it and doing different things to put yourself in different situations. So I took at the time, we just had Charlie and Sadie. I took them on a dual leash thing through a neighborhood that isn't walking distance. It's like 10 minutes from our house, but it is a dreamy neighborhood. It's just one of those neighborhoods that feels like a fairy tale. It's these big houses, brick roads, lots of trees. It's on a lake. It's just my dream neighborhood. And I was like, I want to find owners in here, because what if I could walk dogs in this neighborhood every day? I don't remember which walk it was I went on, but I took them into that neighborhood, and this lady stopped me. She was like, what is that leash you're using? I have 3 dogs, and I probably need something like that. Her name was Jen. And I remember thinking, do not forget her name, because I remember dogs' names. I do not remember people's names. I don't know if I'm the only one, probably not. And I was like, Jen, like the drink. Okay, you're going to remember it. And she got my number, and I was like, oh, please, 3 dogs. If I could walk them, that major bank. I mean, what was it, like 25 a walk? I don't know, but I was very excited about the potential. And sure enough, she ended up being my best client, would have me come over sometimes 3 times a day to walk through her dream neighborhood. But anyway, it was a Great Pyrenees, a cream golden retriever named Sugar Bear. She was giant and the sassiest, most wonderful creature. And then Harley, who was like a hound mix. She looked like a Rottie hound. And then the Great Pyrenees, Buddy, he was highly reactive on walks, and he would pick up stuff in his mouth, and unless you wanted like your hand eaten off, you couldn't get it out of his mouth. So long story short, if you have a dog like this, the out command paired with the e-collar is a lifesaver. You can stay calm. You can pair the e-collar with out. Dog drops it. Go on your merry way. So that is usually how I like to teach the out command. Because I work with a lot of dogs who pick up stuff on the walk and their owner doesn't want that anymore, because it can be dangerous, like chicken bones. Why are they everywhere? There's a theory that someone told me, like they think birds are picking up chicken wings and dispersing them. That makes so much more sense, because why are chicken bones everywhere? It's just the weirdest thing ever. I don't see them in our neighborhood, but when I walk around cities or downtown, everywhere, and it's just nuts. And dogs love them, obviously, and that can be dangerous. So most of the time I teach out like that. The other way I like to teach out, when you have a dog like Nola who maybe guards something and you want them to back away from it, is out command using the dog's food. So I'm going to talk you through this real quick, because I think it can be really helpful if you are struggling. I'm thinking of doing a video on this to show it and then add it to the e-collar starter guide library, which, okay, side note, by the way, right now our e-collar starter guide, oh, that's an announcement. All 3 of our guides are in one guide for the price of one. So it is our e-collar starter guide, our reactive dog handbook, and our guide to separation anxiety. Each guide shows you how to use the e-collar for reactivity, for separation anxiety, to work through, help your dog get more comfortable in the kennel. And then the e-collar starter guide, which is packed with how to teach your dog the language of the e-collar so that you can do so much more. Walking nicely, off leash, all that stuff is in there. It is in one spot for now, and Oh, no, it doesn't. It's in one spot for now. Okay. Then our video library is now separate. It is a separate product. So you have to get both to get the videos plus our mega guide. Okay, one thing about being a dog trainer and having your own business, because it's just me, I have major help from my virtual assistant, Molly, who's amazing. It's been a year since I've worked with her, and not everyone needs a virtual. Well, I'm not going to say that. She's amazing. She's changed my life, and I love talking with her about creative stuff, and she is just so organized and wonderful. So it's not just me. But a lot of times I want to try things as like an experiment, like what will work. At the time when we combined all the guides into one, I was trying to simplify things. I wanted to make it easier for an owner to get all the resources in one spot and not have to pick and choose between bundles or which guide to get. Now I'm starting to think that it's not very clear what all is in the e-collar starter guide. So we're thinking of breaking up the e-collar starter guide into the 3 guides, and then you will have to get them separately, or where it can be like an add-on at a discounted price if you're going to get multiple guides. So if you want the e-collar starter guide, right now would be the time to get it for the price of $47. And then the videos are an extra price, but now is the time to do it. So I hope that you hop on that. Okay, so with Nola, with the out command, I was going to say I'm thinking of recording it and adding it to the e-collar starter guide video library so you can hear exactly when I'm using it. It will be a shorter video because when I'm teaching out using a dog's food, I can only do it a couple of times. So what it looks like is I'll have her on leash. What I've been doing is in her kennel, I've been having her wait to eat her food because she's just a ravenous little piggy. Sounds mean, but I'm meaning it very endearing, in an endearing way. She's like a little, she just loves her food. She's so precious and okay. So, but I've been having her wait. Using the e-collar is a really great way to create that boundary. So what I would do is she'd get close to her. I put the food down. She'd get close to it. No, tap. I use a e-collar that has 100 levels. With her, I'm using a micro mini educator. So it's just, now you can get different colors, but usually it's like a purple color. Now you can, I think, get whatever color you want. It's just a little bit different. It's like a 20% difference from the mini educator. Okay. And what I mean by that is like a level 20 on the micro mini educator might be a 10 on the mini educator. So if that makes sense. So with her, I've been having her wait for her food. So she's doing really good with that. And I just use the e-collar as a boundary setter. She starts to go down to eat her food. No, tap. And then she kind of backs off a little bit. So I have her wait just for a few seconds. And then I say, okay. And she gets her food. And she has a slow feeder, which I recommend to anyone who has a dog who eats like crazy. It just, like the name says, it slows them down. Our dog Johnny has one too. So what I do is I will have her wait and then I'll say, okay, and she can go get her food. Having a leash on is helpful for any of you who are doing it because when you start to use the e-collar, sometimes you need a little leash guidance when you're doing what I'm about to tell you. Say, okay. And then what I will say is out. And as soon as I start saying it, I will press and hold on her e-collar with continuous pressure at a lower-ish level. So for her, it might be 10 out of 100. So it's a level that she feels, and I'm basing this off of the levels I use on the walk. So it's not her working level, it's a little slightly higher. Her working level was about 6 on the e-collar. So probably start around 10. I'll say out, press and hold while giving light leash guidance and slowly dialing up at the same time. So I think I have not small hands. So to me, I can do this with a leash in one hand. If you're watching the video of this, leash with one hand, press and hold with continuous pressure while slowly dialing up with my pointer finger and my thumb. If you can't do this, I would say put your left hand through the loop of a leash, hold the e-collar with that left hand, and then you will look at your remote and dial up with the other hand. So the whole purpose of this is to give continuous pressure while slowly dialing up. So it goes 10, 11, 12, 13. And then as soon as she starts to back away from the food a little bit, it could just be a little moment, just her head up or something. I take my finger off the button. I would, if she doesn't back up all the way, I'd probably give a tap tap on tone, which tone is the sound. I described it in my Instagram stories, which by the way, you can go look at Nola's highlight. I shared them all, saved them all in there. I want to encourage her to move away. So if she showed a little moment of disengaging from the food, finger off the button, so no more continuous pressure. That teaches her how to turn off this e-collar. You back away from the food when I say out. Then I would give tap, tap on tone. Good, let's go. I'd walk her away. We'd walk back over to the food. I would not let her rush to the food. I want her to wait for a second just to practice that kind of politeness. Then I would say, okay, and I would do it again. And usually when I do this again, the dog responds much quicker when I first am doing it. So I probably, let's say the first time, if I went from 10 to 16, the next time I would probably only go from 10 to 12. It depends though. Some dogs are just really, really into their food and very intense. So levels can be drastically different. You might have to go much higher depending on how much they want their food. But the thing about this is I can only do it so many times because a dog starts to be like, well, I don't want to like go over to my food if you're going to keep calling me away. So I usually do it twice, maybe 3 times, because I want to see after the first time, which is a little bit more figuring out like what level means something to the dog, them figuring out what to do when they hear the out command. And then the second time to see, okay, how did they actually, what have they learned? Do they understand when I say out and give some pressure instantly they back away? That's really great feedback. It's usually for more sensitive dogs. Or do we have to go through it again where I slowly dial up to whatever level before? Or do I get 3 levels before what I did the last time? Does it look a little different? But I usually only do it 1 to 2 times and then I'll let her eat her food and then I'll do it maybe the next day. But you can't do it over and over and over. Dogs just won't do it. So that is something that I'm going to do with her. I've also used the e-collar for out because I don't have her housemate, but I have Johnny, who I love to bring around training dogs, and he's very playful in the backyard. So the other day, she had a big tire toy in her mouth, and she got all excited and got it. And when Johnny got close to her, she growled at him. So usually that's not a bad thing. Like with our dogs in our pack, we have 4 dogs. Theo growls at our other dogs all the time, at least once a day, because that's how he communicates, but it doesn't escalate. It's it's sometimes I don't like it because if he has a bone by him and they walk past and he growls, it's just unnecessary. Like I don't need my dog growling at the other dogs. But it's also kind of interesting because sometimes when he does growl at them, it's like he's just communicating and they respect it, they back off. So that is the dynamic with our pack. But for a dog like Nola, it's a great opportunity to pair that moment with a command that I want her owners to be able to use back at home. So what I wanted to do in that moment was have her drop the toy, again, because I'm thinking, what does this usually lead to in their home? It's led to a couple of fights between the 2 Frenchies. They end up just like, whatever it dissipates or like it doesn't get too out of control, but Nola is just 9 months old. It can get worse. That's just how it is with a lot of dogs. So for Nola, I want to make really clear that that's not okay because her past has shown what that leads to. If it was different with a dog who didn't get in fights with a housemate, if she just growls and it's just how she communicates with the other dog and there was no fights that happened because of it, that wouldn't be a big deal. I would maybe interrupt if I felt like it could escalate. But with her, I'm trying to use every opportunity I have over these next 2 weeks that I have her to add clarity to certain situations. So with that moment, I paired the e-collar with out. I just said out and gave a tap at a level that meant something to her, not the level 10 I would start at for the situation I was telling you I would teach out for having her back away from something. In this moment, I just wanted it to mean enough for her to drop the thing she had in her mouth. I think for her, it was about a 35. She dropped it, backed away, no big deal. So that, and what I have found with her is now when I say out with stuff in the backyard, she backs away. So she doesn't even have to have anything in her mouth. It's more that's the power of using a tool like the e-collar plus your verbal commands. It makes them mean more. And I did that after I've introduced the e-collar. She understands it. We've been using it on walks. I've been using it to interrupt barking and whining in the kennel. So this is nothing new to her. If I just put the e-collar on her and tapped for out in the backyard, and that was the first time she ever felt it, it would freak her out. So that is the nuance about e-collar training. It's helpful and very important to introduce the e-collar to your dog first, so that this is nothing new. It's not like something that would freak your dog out. The e-collar starter guide shows you how to do that. And I would recommend getting both the e-collar starter guide and our video library so you can hear exactly when I'm using the e-collar when introducing the e-collar to dogs. I think that will be really helpful as well. So with Nola, okay, so going into the multi-dog household kind of a thing. So since I don't have Nola's housemate, the thing I was very upfront with when talking with the owners is that I can't predict how things will go with their other dog in the mix. Usually when an owner sends one dog to me and not the other, it's because the other dog is quote unquote easier. That could look different to me if I saw the dog, but I am taking their word for it. I can't go any other way. It's also not a situation where it's like these two giant dogs who are getting into physical fights and needing to go to the vet, or although one of them did get a little cut above her head. So, but I hope that makes sense. If it was, let's just say, two big pitties who were getting into major fights, one, I probably wouldn't work with a situation like that. But with a little Frenchie who is young and testing the boundaries, my instinct tells me that if we are really clear with her about giving her the job of place, adding the e-collar to an out command, and then giving really clear boundaries to her in different situations where it's much more clear about what she should and shouldn't do, I think there will be a big change. I also believe that different dogs can have different rules. I see this all the time with our own personal dogs, where sometimes an older dog who's a little bit easier doesn't need as many strict rules as another dog. It sometimes doesn't even have to do with age. It's like our dog Theo, we don't let on the couch because he growls at us. He guards the couch. I don't like that. So could I work through that and correct him for it or address it? Yes, but how we manage it is he just is not allowed on the couch. It is we let our dog Johnny on the couch because he's a sweet angel baby and he doesn't do anything and he listens to us and there's no pushback from it. So with Nola, her housemate can maybe be on the floor playing with a toy. And if that is when they get into it, Nola should be on place or in her kennel. Another big thing with multi-dog houses is management is everything. And your management tools are your commands. So in the house, that's the place command and the kennel. Another thing I told Nola's owners is that she's going to need to be supervised anytime there are toys out. If I was them, and I'm very open with owners, so I would talk to them about this. Toys are not just going to be thrown all over the floor. This is something I'm actually going to recommend. I would recommend giving designated times so each dog can have a toy to chew on. Nola should be on her place so that she has very clear boundaries that she can't get off a place and go steal Lavu's, I hope I'm saying that right, Lavu's toy. And then also if Lavu is the dog, it doesn't seem like Lavu is the one who is stealing toys from Nola. If that were the case, Nola should be in her kennel when Lavu has a toy and swapping like that. Then Lavu can be in her kennel when Nola has a toy, because that's not fair if Nola's on place and Lavu comes over and steals her toy. But that's not the picture that I'm getting. It's more Nola's kind of the instigator. So if we take care of Nola, who is the pushier dog, give her a clear job on place, where before it was just do whatever you want, get toys, let's see what happens, because none of us get dogs and think that we're going to have all these rules with them. But some dogs need that from us to help them be at their best. So then life looks a little bit different, but it's really just adding in these management things like place, kennel time, watching the dogs. Ideally, we would love to have dogs we don't ever have to watch and manage, but when you get multi-dogs in the same home, different personalities can make that look very different. This was something that we kept in mind when we got Johnny, who I knew we couldn't get a dog that was like our dog Theo, because he is very alpha. He's, he's a dog that would correct other dogs. And if we got another dog that would then fight with him or do the same thing back, if they were similar, it wouldn't work. And I didn't want another dog that I would have to manage our whole pack and have them separated. I didn't want that. Some of you probably have to do that. So with a multi-dog house, it's important to think of it as just management. It doesn't have to be forever, but it will make your life so much easier. The other thing would be for training. So someone commented what's the question she asked? She said, if you have any tips for doing training in a multi-dog household, that would be great. That seems to be my biggest struggle is I have more than one dog and I would love to work with them at the same time and they want to work at the same time. But first I need to get them both to that point. So it's kind of like if I have two training dogs in at the same time and both of them are starting from scratch. They both are pushy, have some issues. I want to enjoy walks with both of them. All the same training goals, but two different dogs. So my thing that I do is crate and rotate. I love that saying because it just sticks in your head. So you have one dog in the crate and you have the other dog out to work through things. The thing about this is sometimes that can look really smooth. Other times it can look like one dog freaks out in the kennel because they're getting FOMO while you have the other dog out. And this is where the e-collar is really helpful. So what I would do is introduce the e-collar to each dog. So even if one is freaking out in the kennel, I would do an intro session with one dog outside of the kennel, introduce the e-collar, put them in the kennel, bring the other dog out, intro session. Then you can use the e-collar to interrupt that anxious loop in the kennel, to say no to barking, say no to whining, just to kind of interrupt so that it's not like a freak out in the kennel. So you could get the guide to separation anxiety for that. I would actually recommend, we have a podcast episode. If you go to my podcast page, whatever that looks like, you search for Confessions of a Dog Trainer. At the top, if you're on Spotify or probably wherever, but I know Spotify does this, you can search for, put in ANX. I don't know if it's anxious or anxiety. And then a couple of episodes will pop up and you'll see one that's how to use the e-collar for separation anxiety. Listen to that. Because the e-collar is such a helpful tool, but a lot of times people don't think e-collar and separation anxiety. It seems like counterintuitive, where really it's a helpful interrupter, if you think of it like that. And it can feel messy at first. It does even for me as a trainer, because a lot of dogs get FOMO in the kennel, but it gets easier the more that you do it, because working with one dog at a time is so much easier than working with two. It is just much more challenging. Even on walks, if you want to work on like the heel command, get your dog to follow with you instead of pulling out in front of you, work with each dog separately. And the kennel is just so, so helpful. If you have a situation where a dog could be tethered with a leash, maybe put them on place while you're working with the other dog, you can also do that. So whichever one I think would be easy. I think the kennel is easier, but if you're not doing that, having them tethered to place, so tethered, I just mean have a leash on, have their leash tied to something so they can't really get far off of place. That can be really challenging though too. You might get some whiny stuff. So again, doing the same with each dog, but separately using the kennel or place would be really helpful. And that's really like, I don't know if this sounds simple, because I do get the multi-dog household question a lot. And I think it's all about management. And the crate and rotate management tool is the most helpful. Because the one thing I find is when you have multi-dogs in a house, let's say you have one dog who has reactivity and then you get another dog, it's almost always going to make the reactivity seem like completely overwhelming because, well, anyway, I think that's probably obvious. But okay, multi-dog households always come back to management, crate and rotate. And then you can start to challenge them a little bit more where you have one dog on place while you're working with the other one, and then swap them. Put the other dog on place, work with the other one. This is why it's so helpful, I think, when I have multi-dogs, because one, you're reinforcing calmness in the kennel when you're working with another dog. It's not that way at first. A lot of dogs, like I said, have FOMO. So you work on that exposure of, I'm out here with another dog while you're hanging out in place or in the kennel. You're strengthening their ability to be on their own. And it's not always, it feels messy at first usually, but it gets better the more that you do it. I see this all the time. My training program, my board and train is 2 weeks long. I am almost always amazed at the progress that I can make in 2 weeks with a dog. They always blow me away because it seems like such a short amount of time, but each day it's like we chip away at it. And I've learned over the years with experience, because I used to freak out sometimes, like, oh my gosh, I'm not seeing like progress like I thought I would in the first week. Now I know every little bit of progress each day makes a huge difference. And dogs are just, they're so funny, where it's like if I work with a dog on heel, and let's say yesterday when I walked Nola and my dog Johnny for the first time, just me, because Bobby was walking with us before, and she just got here Sunday. It's Thursday. But Nola was a little extra pushy. So I had to address some more pushy stuff in the beginning, which was just to be expected. Today, when we went on our morning walk, when I went with the two of them, she was much better. It's just, I think if you're in the mix of like, oh, like this feels really messy. Yeah, that's how it is. It's just, I think, kind of a sign that you're doing it, you're working through something, but you might be surprised the next day how it feels a little different. So always come back to that. You never know. Take a break, come back the next day. So I hope that that is helpful. Um, with multi-dogs, it's a lot about management and then merging them together so you can like walk with them together or have them out together. But that's always more challenging. So work with each one on their own until you feel confident bringing them together. It's like for me with training dogs, if I have two in at the same time, time wise, it's much more efficient if I walk both at the same time. It's probably the same for you. But what I would rather you do is split their walk in half so you could walk one and then the other one, because walking two together can be overwhelming. For me, it's kind of a good challenge. It's like, well, I feel really confident using the e-collar. Usually one dog is more pushy than the other, so I'll maybe have them closer to me when they're both walking on the left side. So almost always I'm using an e-collar for one more than the other. And that just comes with walking with them and seeing which one needs the e-collar more than the other or vice versa. But I have a lot of practice with that. Where for you, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Although you might be someone that's like, I want to do this, I want to try it with both. Go out and see. If you are totally overwhelmed, that is feedback, not a setback. Just try again the next day, or the next day. You still need to work with one at a time. But I hope that that's helpful. With Nola, she got here Sunday. It's Thursday. You can go take a look at her highlight on Instagram where you can see all the things I'm doing with her. She is so adorable. So it's just a lot of teaching her new boundaries: heel, place command, a solid recall, because they live in a place where they want to be able to let her out into the front yard off leash. So that's a big priority. A great way to practice off leash stuff without practicing, or before you get there with like a long line leash, which I love, is a hands free leash. I get my hands free leashes from my friend Dee, who's also a dog trainer and just had a baby, at salty.paws.life. And she makes amazing hands-free leashes. And it's really nice, especially when you're using the e-collar. Hands-free leash is so you can practice what quote unquote off leash is like and rely more on the e-collar more than the leash. So that's always a nice thing. You can get them in cute colors. They're so cute. Or a long line leash, which I love. We get ours from pawmark.com. I'll link that in the show notes as well. They're super lightweight. I have a package coming soon with some more, so I can show you next time or in my Instagram highlights. Another thing I'm doing, which I think is a fun little announcement that I'm very excited about, is creating some new boundaries for social media. I'm getting the brick. Have you heard of this? So I got so much feedback from people in my Instagram stories because I asked if anyone else has used it, and please message me. So many of you told me you love it, and I am so excited because I am addicted to my phone and I hate constantly checking Instagram. A lot of times I want to check for if people have commented on something. I try my best to reply back because I'm just so grateful that I have people that comment on my things. So nice. Or message me about things, sometimes about the guides or questions, and I want to try and help as best I can. But it is too much. And my eyes are getting like blurry at the end of the day. And like, I just think I need some clear boundaries. So supposedly brick is the answer. And I've been practicing where I glance at it sometimes, but where I don't look at my phone on social media from like noon on. I just started yesterday, so I'm talking like I'm an expert at this. But I can go on my laptop to reply to things, but no scrolling. I'm so excited. I cannot believe how excited I am about this, honestly. But this is my 9th year of going into dog training full time, and I just am at a place where I really want to be present. I don't even know if that's the word. I just don't want to mindlessly scroll on my phone and ruin my eyes. I think that's the thing. And I want to work on other things and not be always distracted and all of that. So, anyway, just a little note. Okay, I hope that you enjoy this episode. As always, please let me know if you have any questions. You can message me over on Instagram at Walking Dog Training. I will be able to reply to you morning through noon. No, I think I'll be checking on my laptop. Or you can comment on this if this was helpful. Feedback is so nice to hear because then I know something is resonating. I'm not just talking to the void. Or if you have something you want me to do a podcast episode on, something that you wish your family and friends or community knew more about, please let me know. I'm always looking for ideas to share more and yeah, think of things differently because I feel like sometimes I'm just saying the same stuff over and over, and I don't know, maybe that's what I should be doing. But I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for you. Check out my book, Dear Owner. Look at the cute, if you're watching the video, Theo, Johnny, Louie, Charlie. So cute, right? And Sadie. So this is our dog Sadie who passed away, who she's actually, do I have it in here? She's our logo. Probably can't see that, but it's her with a hat that someone local drew it. So anyway, I love this and I hope that it is reassuring for you. Again, it's the emotional side of it, which anyone with a challenging dog will totally get it. Thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year and cheers. Till next time. Bye. I don't remember how to stop it. Okay.